Welcome to another edition of the Sports Guys. It's kind of a big night for the Sports Guys. We have one of our writers is leaving, Mike Hautemaki. After 10 years, he'll be leaving the newspaper. And at the same time, Scott Gertis is joining the staff. He's been here about a month now. So it's a time of transition. Mike's been here 10 years. Any thoughts, Mike, on being done now at the paper and moving on?
It's kind of a bittersweet day. I don't know. It's hard to put into words that it's actually here. This is it's Wednesday, April 3rd, and it's actually my last day here at the office. It's been a good run. I joined the MDN right out of college, graduated from UMD in Duluth, and was fortunate to kind of get my foot in the door while I was in college.
Yep, that's right.
Just worked here sparingly until I graduated, and then joined full time.
Okay.
And been here ever since. Looking back on the 10 years, written a lot of stories, met a lot of people, made a lot of friends. So,
do you have a best moment?
I was thinking about that actually on my drive up to Ely today.
Is that right?
Drove up there to interview some skiers, but the one moment that sticks out in my mind was when I went to Izaides Resort back in 2007, covered the Virginia boys golf team when they won the state championship.
Yeah, that was big.
Yeah.
That was great.
I mean, I've covered, I don't know how many section champion winners, and obviously those are exciting and big moments too, but to actually be there and see a team take home a state championship, it's not something you get to experience very often.
Yeah,
so
pretty rare in northern Minnesota too,
yeah.
Our neck of the woods.
Yeah, so that one sticks out. There's other stuff too. I mean, just going to a game, seeing people, talking. I can remember countless things like that just over the years. So it's been a good run. My for those interested, my current plan is to just hang out here through most of the summer, relax, take some time off, and eventually relocate to Southwest Florida.
Okay.
So Cape Coral to be more specific. And if anyone is interested in contacting me, wanting to know more, or wanting to keep in touch, just email me at hauts81, HAUTS81 @hotmail.com. So
Visiting you next winter?
Yeah.
Sure. I'm going to have an extra guest room, so come on down.
We'll have lots of company, I think.
Yep.
Nice.
And also, with our new sports writer, Scott Gertis, he's born and raised in Iowa, and he can tell you a little bit more about himself. Go ahead, you can...
No hate mail for the Hawkeye thing. Sorry, Iowa State people. I do root for the Gophers unless they're playing Iowa. In my heart, I can't help it. Yes, born and raised in Iowa. Went to the University of Iowa, obviously. And I've worked in journalism and other word-related jobs in Minnesota and Minneapolis in particular, and New Mexico. And found my way up here. I like it a great deal and feel very lucky to be here.
Yeah, well, we're definitely happy to have you. It's been a good month so far. Any thoughts on your first month on the job?
Well, it's a learning curve. It's funny because I've always been a big sports fan, but I've never really written about it.
Okay.
I've written about a lot of other things, a lot of other areas in the newspaper biz. So it's fun, but it is a learning curve for sure.
Okay. Yeah, well, it's coming along good.
Don't be too hard on me. Give me a little time before you get on to me.
It's actually been kind of an interesting experience because it wasn't one of those deals where I just gave my 2 weeks notice and said I'm gone. I wanted to stick around a little bit and kind of help these guys through the transition. So over the last month.
Thank you again for that.
Yeah.
It's very nice of you.
Yeah.
Very helpful.
It's been kind of interesting just to meet Scott here, work with him over the last month, and
for sure
get to know the guy that's going to be replacing me here at the paper. So I'm fortunate that I got that opportunity.
Well, I hate to use a cliche, but big shoes to fill, for sure.
Thank you. I
Big
appreciate
shoes to
that.
fill.
Yeah, we're definitely looking forward to having you around, so good luck.
Thanks.
One of the big stories today was the NHL trading deadline, and the Minnesota Wild made one big move. They acquired Jason Pominville. He was a captain for the Buffalo Sabres. 30-goal scorer. I think he's 30 years old too.
Yep, like 8 years in the league.
Yeah. They acquired him for two prospects, Matt Hackett, a goalie, Johan Larsson, a forward, and then a first and second round pick.
You're not too supportive of that right off the bat?
Well, when I first heard about the two prospects, I thought, that's kind of a heavy price to pay, because they're both good prospects, especially Larson. He was being talked about as being a key part of the future.
Okay.
And Matt Hackett, I mean, he's a backup goalie, but we might have needed him at some point. But then you add the first and second round picks over the next 2 years. A first, I think, this year, and a second next year.
Right.
For a forward, when they needed defensive help the most. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't mind it at all. They needed, they need somebody that can score. They
Yeah.
had trouble, for most of the year, they've had trouble scoring.
Yeah.
So hopefully that'll pick up. I guess I have to offset the defensive help that they would need. So,
Yeah.
and,
Maybe they can just outscore guys from here on out.
Yeah.
I guess my thinking is that the owner, Craig Leopold, was behind it because he's publicly made it known that he wants to win now.
Yeah.
He's not looking ahead to the future like Chuck Fletcher, the GM, has talked about with all these prospects that they have coming up through the system. So my thinking is that Leopold was the one that pushed for the trade. And I don't know, I guess if they were going to give up prospects, my hope was that they would do it for a defenseman. Because beyond their first defensive pairing on the top line, they really don't have a lot.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. The win now is good. And if they have that top line, if he goes on the top line, they could be good for several years if everything clicks.
Yeah.
So that's the hope anyway.
Hopefully it works out, but I don't know. See what happens.
And there's more big news on the college basketball front. The Gophers finally got themselves a coach after Tubby Smith was fired. Looks like Richard Pitino from Florida International, son of Rick Pitino. So you would think with the bloodlines that would be good news for the Gophers. I don't know what you think about that, Scott.
Don't know much about him yet. I know he's really young. He's like 30
Mm-hmm.
or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
He's got to be one of the younger coaches, especially in a Big Ten school. That's a
very.
big stage, But
Hope
with
he's an
that
up and comer.
pedigree, yeah, you'd think
That'd be
he'd
nice.
a good chance. At least he's got his father if he has any questions.
That's
He's a good
right.
guy to go to.
Yeah.
Funny thing on Twitter earlier is there were actually some people freaking out thinking we got the
Yeah, probably.
Pitino. They thought it was Rick Pitino, and then there was kind of it's a Pitino, but it's his kid. But I don't know.
And do we really want the elder Pitino?
Well, he's
Yeah.
kind of busy right now anyway, isn't he?
I'm
Yeah.
not.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Rick Pitino though. I don't know. I guess my quick thoughts. Apparently, from what I read on Twitter from Twin Cities Media, Billy Donovan, the Florida coach, talked him up quite a bit.
Okay.
And I guess this Richard Pitino worked under Donovan as an assistant at Florida. And apparently he's known as a stellar recruiter, which was a big factor in
Yeah.
the Gophers' search.
They need that.
They want to be able to recruit on a national level. So
How about keeping their guys in state? They got trouble doing that.
yeah, they got the big three coming through in the class of 2014. They're nationally ranked elite prospects, and at this point they'll be lucky to get any one of the three
Okay.
because it's so late in the process. But if the guy's a good recruiter and a good talker,
Yeah, he's just got to get in the door, I guess.
do a good sell job.
Yeah.
But
Do we know if the loss of Tubby, did we lose any letters of intent from that?
there's one guy, I think he's a guard. He said he might reopen his recruitment and start looking around, but I don't think he was very firm on that. So
Yeah. Hopefully they can reel him back in.
yeah,
That'd be good.
they need a guard, but they need even more help in the front court.
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
So young guy, but hopefully he can do a good job.
And on the high school basketball scene, we have the winter season is wrapping up with the Pride of the Northeast All-Star Games at Mesabi Range College tonight. We have the two girls games tonight. They had 2 boys games last week. They used to have just one of each, so now it's double the pleasure, I guess. So it's been good. The girls games were good. Or, I'm sorry, the boys game that I watched was good last week. Some of our local players stepped up pretty well and got to play with their high school teammates one more time. I know Scott's going over to watch one of the girls' games tonight at 6. So any thoughts? I know you just covered a couple basketball games for us so far.
Right. This will be my first girls game.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to watching them.
Yeah, should be it's usually high scoring anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's fun.
Yeah, for sure.
All these all-star games usually are.
Yeah.
No matter what level they are.
Not
There
much
doesn't seem to be
defense.
much defense. All kind of
It's run and
flash
gun.
and dash, you know.
All I can say is thank God we still have games to cover, because in
Yeah.
this weather there's nothing going on.
Yeah.
Just
Thank you, Mr. Stackpole.
Yeah,
Yeah.
praying for the snow to melt.
Yeah.
All right, my last show, my last sign off. It's been a good run, like I said earlier, and I'll planning to be around a little while longer. So if you see me out and about, say hi.